friends, I am back with another layout. Today I'm playing with the Fancy Pants Prairie Rose collection. I recently purchased this off of peachycheap.com and it just came with a 6x8 pad. It also came with the foam stickers, 2 packs of die cuts, and the enamel dots. So I'm going to create a layout of my daughters going to our local amusement park, and they were in the western part of the park. So I thought that these papers would match this layout perfectly because of the colors. They're wearing maroon and navy, and so I think it will be fun to pick up these blue and red colors from this collection. Now for the base of the layout, I was inspired by the wood grain paper that is in here, and I'm going to be using this Simple Stories Snap Basic. This one is called Elm and Cream Ledger. Now they recently redid the Snap Basics where one side is a wood grain and then the other side is like a office basic in either cream or white. So this particular one, yeah, this is an older one. It's from 2016. So this particular one has a cream ledger and then the wood grain. Now the new one may be the exact same, or it may be revamped. So if you're looking for that, just be aware of that and double check before you purchase it. Okay, so my idea for this page was to, I'm going to put this smaller photo up in this corner because the gun of this cowboy sign is pointing that direction, and then also my daughter is facing that direction. So even though my younger daughter is facing the other way, I think the two facing this way will help to draw your eye to this photo. So that's the reason for this orientation. Now I recently purchased some tea bag folding dies from Creative Expressions. I think these have been around a while. I just saw them on like a sale, so I picked up a few of the designs, and I've never done tea bag folding, so I think this will be fun to try. I got this square one that kind of creates this pointy looking flower. There's this round one that creates a rounder flower. I don't know, I'm calling them flowers. And then there's this octagon one with the 2 octagons and then the scored lines. I think I'm gonna go with this one. I think this will be a good shape to go with the Western theme. It kind of reminds me of a wagon wheel. So we'll go with that. I also think it will be perfect to use with these 6x8 papers because they are a little lighter than a normal cardstock, so I think they will fold well. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to start off by creating some of these tea bag folded flowers, I guess is what you would call them. And there's several different ways to do them. They have instructions on the packaging. I'm just going to go with the basic way, I believe, because the others are a little more dimensional. So I'm going to go with the basic design, and then I'll start there and then we'll start constructing the layout. First thing I'm going to do is flip through the 6x8 paper pad and select some patterns that I think that will go well together. For each of the octagons, I want 2 patterns. I'm going to fold the pieces and then alternate those patterns. So for the first large octagon, I'm going to do this denim pattern along with the golden brown floral. I'll go ahead and fold one of these pieces with the golden brown floral. It's really easy to do. This is the first time I'd ever done it, and so I was just following the instructions here, and I'm sure there's instructions online as well. But the great thing about this is you're really just folding 8 little pieces all the exact same way, and then you adhere them together. And so I'll be doing that in a moment. I'm creating 2 large octagon pieces, one with the denim and the golden brown floral, and then I'll create another one with the green cactus print, and I pair that one with the yellow chick pattern. Now I also created a smaller octagon, and I will cut that out as well. For that one, I repeated the denim paper and I paired it with the red star pattern on the other side of that denim paper, just to repeat it and pick up more of the red and pink. Now this was a really fun technique to try, and they are quite dimensional, but what I really like about them is they remind me of a quilt. They kind of have that homespun feel about them. They look really complicated to put together, but really you're just folding 8 simple shapes and then adhering them all together. So here's that smaller one that is the denim and the red star pattern paired together. I like that the red and pink star pattern picks up the red and pink florals of the golden brown, and then also it's repeating that denim color. Now I'm going to mat the photos with this red chick pattern paper, and what I like about using a 3.5 by 5 photo is that I can mat it with some of the 6x8 papers, so that worked out well. However, when I dry fitted these pieces, I decided that I needed 2 more of the small octagons, so I'm going to do another one that has denim mixed with the pink horseshoe pattern. And then for the last one, I do repeat that green cactus and yellow chick pattern at the top of the page. Now I wanted to break up the background. This is the Color Vibe Woods paper. You can buy this in a pack of 6. It has a variety of wood grain patterns, and then on the other side are the Office Basics, which are fantastic. You will use these all the time. And I just wanted to add some additional interest and actually a little bit of shimmer to this page. So I'm using some gold metallic paint and I'm just splattering it on the background. I added some water to it to make it a little more runny, and it actually didn't take very long to dry. I did do some larger drips, but I didn't like how they looked, so I am covering those up a little bit with those octagons. So I'm just positioning these here, and then once I get them in the place that I like, I'm just going to use some liquid adhesive and adhere those into place. After I like my arrangement, I'm going to go ahead and use some thick foam tape. Normally I use thin foam tape, but this time I'm using thicker foam tape squares to add my photos. Now, I had to use the thicker foam squares because this is quite a dimensional layout. In fact, I even had to double up these thick squares. These are the ones that you get at the Dollar Tree, so you might be familiar with the thickness of them. I'm okay with that. For the most part, I use thin foam tape throughout my album, so it's fun to once in a while go all out and add some dimension to a layout. Now the next thing I'm pulling out are the ephemera die cuts. I have both the floral die cuts and the regular shape die cuts, but I didn't dig into the floral die cuts at all. They are larger florals, and for this particular design I needed smaller florals. The ephemera die cut did include all those small florals that you see at the bottom left corner, and so I was able to make those work. I first added the cacti. I layered 2 cactuses or cacti together on the bottom right corner of the main photo just to bring that green color down from those 2 octagons that I had made earlier. I'm also going to add some florals to the right of those cactuses, and then cacti, I don't know what to say. Anyway, I'm going to interchange them on this video. But then I also used that curved "Oh My Darling" title below the photo. I liked that because it kind of hugged the bottom of that small octagon on the left, and it gave me a little spot to add some florals in the bottom left corner of that smaller photo. I also tucked in a little horseshoe there, and I like that because it repeats that yellow color. So I'm just going to tuck in a few more tiny florals. I'm also going to pair together this green and blue ticket just to fill that space in between the flowers and the octagon above it, just to make sure everything feels nice and connected. I also really love the phrases in this ephemera kit. It says "free spirit" and "sassy and classy" on the bottom. I really like that because it matches the personalities of my daughters. My younger daughter is a bit sassy and my older daughter is definitely classy. So in fact, I almost considered using that as the title for the page, but the "Oh My Darling" with that curve was just too cute. So you can see that I had been trimming down the die cuts a bit. They had a thicker white offset border around each of the die cuts, and I wanted the florals to be tighter. I do that to the butterflies as well. I just kind of trim things up. So don't be afraid to adjust your die cuts for your personal preferences. If there's too much white, just go ahead and take your scissors and alter that. At the bottom of the page, I'm going to add this little farmhouse or barn that's in navy. Again, it's balancing out the navy that is in the denim octagons on the upper portion of the page. I wasn't sure if I was going to add that golden chicken. I end up leaving it off, but actually looking at it now, it's pretty cute, so I might go add that back in. I also added the butterflies to the upper left corner, which I think is really fun and helps to draw your eye from the upper left corner all the way down to the bottom right corner. So now that I have majority of these die cuts in place, I want to embellish the centers of each of these octagons. I went to my stash and I found these wooden nickels by Jelly Bean Soup. They're from 2013. I found them at Tuesday Morning a while back when Tuesday Morning was still open for only 49 cents. And I thought that the vibe of them matched the vibe of this Western paper really well. So I'm going to use that. I also have these Jenny Bolin buttons left over from a kit but they're from 2010. So you know what? We're going to get them used up today. I thought it'd be fun to die cut some burlap on this page just to add a soft texture. So this is just a 6x6 paper that I had hanging out in my stash. I used that die cut. I did have to run it through 4 times just to make sure the metal die went all the way through, but it worked well. So I'm going to put a blue wooden nickel on the bottom one, and then I'm going to put a red one at the top. Now these do have foam adhesive on them already, and I decided after I adhere them that I do want to add some twine to the center of the bow or the buttons. I usually really hate to have naked buttons on my project. In fact, I did try to take off the adhesive on the small ones as well, but it was too sticky, so I'm just going to do the large ones. I just used a little bit of undo to remove that foam pad on the back of those wooden nickels, and then I'm adding some craft colored crochet twine, a double length of it actually, to tie a bow in the center of those larger wooden nickels. I think it looks really cute. It ties back into the browns and tans that we have going on the page and just has a nice woodsy feel. So now that I have the centers of all of these octagons decorated, I'm going to sprinkle in a few of the enamel dots. I'm putting a green and a navy one in 3 different areas. And the last little area I will do is by the title, and then I only had 2 stars on that pack, so I put one in the top cluster and the cluster on the right. I really like how this looks, so I'm ready to add my journaling. I created these journaling strips on my computer. I'm just going to ink them up with some gray ink, and then I will adhere those with some liquid glue just to make sure they don't fall off. This page was a blast to put together. I love all of the different textures that we were able to combine all on one page. We have the visual texture of the wood grain in the background splattered with that metallic paint, and then those fluffy T-folded octagons with all the pattern, the burlap, the buttons, the twine. There's just so much yummy texture. Then those adorable die cut and enamel dots. This was a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed watching this come together. The T-folded octagon die is out at scrapbook.com, but I will link up the circle one that is very similar. It was a lot of fun to try, and I love the homespun feel that added to this page. All right, guys, please like and subscribe if you like what you see, and I hope we get to hang out together again soon. See you next time.